Cleveland's lineup exploded for 5 home runs in a 13-4 rout of Minnesota, headlining a Sunday slate packed with power, including dueling 2 homer nights from Trea Turner and Mookie Betts in Philadelphia. The Cleveland Guardians turned Progressive Field into a home run derby, blasting the Minnesota Twins 13-4 behind a 5-man power display. Petey Halpin and Rhys Hoskins each went deep twice, with Halpin adding 3 RBI to go 3 for 5 on the night, a 2-homer game that stands out as one of the day's premier fantasy performances alongside Hoskins' own multi-homer effort. Travis Bazzana, Patrick Bailey, and Brayan Rocchio also left the yard as Cleveland piled up extra base power across the lineup. Days Stellato pieced the offense at the plate with a 4-for-5 RBI night, while Bailey matched him with 4 hits and 2 RBI of his own. Daniel Schneemann chipped in a stolen base. On the mound, Tanner Bibby was steady and effective, working 6 innings and allowing just 2 earned runs while striking out 5 to lock up the win. Minnesota got production from Byron Buxton, Royce Lewis, and Trevor Larnach, but the Twins' pitching staff had no answer for Cleveland's barrage. It was a laugher from start to finish, and with 2 players notching multi-homer nights, Cleveland's offense delivered the most statistically loaded game on the entire slate. The New York Yankees held off a late Pittsburgh push, winning 8-5 at Yankee Stadium behind a 2-homer night from Jazz Ke'Shawn Jr., a performance notable enough to land him among the day's top fantasy pickups. Esmeralda Valdez answered with a solo shot for the Pirates, but it wasn't enough to overcome New York's lead. The Yankees' bullpen did its job late, with Angel Chivilli picking up the win after 1.1 scoreless innings and Fernando Cruz closing it out with a 1.1 inning save. Pittsburgh got hits throughout its lineup, including contributions from Brian Reynolds, Jared Triolo, Henry Davis, Ryan O'Hearn, Nick Gonzalez, and Marcell Ozuna, but the Pirates couldn't string enough together to complete the comeback. Ke'Shawn's power was the story of the night, propelling the Yankees to a comfortable win on the strength of one dominant, swing-heavy performance. The Tampa Bay Rays cruised past the Toronto Blue Jays 7-1, powered by 3 different home runs from Nick Fortes, Victor Mesa Jr., and Cedric Mullins. Junior Caminero drove in 2 runs while going 3 for 4 to anchor the offense, and the Rays ran the bases aggressively, with Chandler Simpson and Yandy Diaz both swiping bags. Nick Martinez was excellent on the mound, tossing 6 innings and allowing just 1 earned run to pick up the win. Toronto's lone run came despite hits from Ernie Clement, Dalton Varsho, Nathan Lukes, George Springer, and Alejandro Kirk, with Springer also stealing a base. But the Blue Jays' offense never found any consistent rhythm against Tampa Bay's pitching, and the Rays controlled the game from wire to wire in a comfortable road win that was rarely in doubt. The Boston Red Sox extended their winning streak to 13 straight games with a 6-5 win over the Baltimore Orioles, one of the most impressive team streaks anywhere in baseball right now. Wilson Contreras led the way at the plate, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBI, and Khalid Durbin added a solo home run. On the mound, Peyton Toll was electric, striking out 9 over 5.2 innings before handing things off to a bullpen that got the job done. Garrett Whitlock picked up the win and Aroldis Chapman closed it out with a scoreless save. Baltimore didn't go quietly. Gunnar Henderson went 3 for 5, Christian Encarnacion Strand went deep, and the Orioles got hits from Jeremiah Jackson, Leody Taveras, Taylor Ward, Tyler O'Neill, and Pete Alonso. But Boston's late-inning execution proved to be the difference, and the Red Sox continue to look like the hottest team in baseball as they push their streak to 13 games. The Philadelphia Phillies outslugged the Los Angeles Dodgers 10-7 in a back-and-forth power display at Citizens Bank Park. Trea Turner was the offensive story, going 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and 5 RBI, a 2-homer night that makes him one of the day's top fantasy performances. Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh, and Derek Hill also went deep for Philadelphia. Mookie Betts matched Turner's power with a 4 for 5, 3 RBI game that included 2 home runs of his own for Los Angeles, but the Dodgers' offense wasn't enough to overcome Philadelphia's lead. Justin Crawford added a stolen base for the Phillies. On the mound, Christopher Sanchez battled through 5.1 innings, allowing 3 earned runs while striking out 7 to secure the win. Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Andy Pages, and Tommy Edman all contributed hits for Los Angeles, but this one came down to 2 dueling multi-homer performances, and Turner's 5 RBI gave Philadelphia just enough cushion to hold on. The Atlanta Braves edged the San Diego Padres 3-2 in a tightly contested pitchers' duel that turned on a pair of solo home runs. Michael Harris Roman II and Ozzie Albies each went deep for Atlanta, providing just enough offense to support Bryce Elder, who worked 6 innings and allowed 2 earned runs while striking out 4 to earn the win. Victor Medeiros locked down the final 2.1 innings for the save. San Diego got home runs of its own from Manny Machado and Ty France, and Luis Rengifo and Freddie Fermin also had hits, but the Padres couldn't scratch across the tying run late. Neither offense strung together much beyond the long balls, making this one of the tighter, more pitching-driven results on the day's slate, with Atlanta escaping by a single run. The Kansas City Royals held off the San Francisco Giants 4-3 in a close, low-key win. Salvador Perez provided the Royals power with a solo home run, while Alex Lange worked a shaky but effective inning, allowing 2 earned runs but striking out 2 to pick up the win. San Francisco got home runs from Heliot Ramos and Willie Adams, and Daniel Souza added a stolen base. Kansas City's Jack Caglianon was held hitless, snapping his 10-game hit streak in the process. Josh Rojas, Isaac Collins, Nick Lofton, Michael Massey, and Lane Thomas all contributed base hits for the Royals as they scratched out just enough offense to hang on. It wasn't a flashy night, but Kansas City did enough in every phase to escape with a 1-run victory over a Giants club that also got solid at-bats from Young-Hoo Lee and Rafael Devers. The Milwaukee Brewers routed the New York Mets 8-3, getting home runs from Cooper Pratt, Joey Ortiz, and Andrew Vaughn. Pratt had a big all-around night, going 3 for 4 with an RBI and also swiping a bag. Craig Yoho picked up the win after a scoreless 2-strikeout inning out of the bullpen. Christian Yelich, Garrett Mitchell, and Bryce Terang also had hits for Milwaukee as the offense stayed hot throughout the lineup. New York got production from Bo Bichette, Francisco Alvarez, Francisco Lindor, Jorge Polanco, and Jared Young, but the Mets never found a way to slow down Milwaukee's attack. It was a complete team win for the Brewers, from Pratt's all-around effort to a bullpen that shut the door and secured the comfortable 5-run win. The Detroit Tigers outlasted the Chicago Cubs 8-6 in a slugfest at Wrigley Field. Dylan Dingler was the star of the game, going 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 3 RBI, a multi-homer performance that ranks among the day's top fantasy lines. Riley Green also went deep for Detroit. Chicago answered with home runs from Ian Happ, Michael Busch, and Seiya Suzuki, and got hits from Dansby Swanson and Nico Hoerner, but couldn't overcome Detroit's lead. Kenley Jansen picked up the win with a scoreless 2-strikeout inning, and Tyler Holton closed it out with a save. Both offenses traded haymakers all night, but Dingler's 2-homer, 3 RBI outburst proved to be the difference-maker in a game that went the distance before Detroit's bullpen slammed the door. The Chicago White Sox blew the game open late, routing the Texas Rangers 10-3. Miguel Vargas led the charge, going 3 for 5 with 2 RBI, and the White Sox got contributions up and down the lineup from Tristan Peters, the U.S. Angel Acuna, Randall Grichuk, Munetaka Murakami, Chase Majdroth, Drew Romo, Braden Montgomery, Andrew Benintendi, and Sam Antonacci. Chris Murphy picked up the win out of the bullpen. Texas tried to keep pace with home runs from Jake Berger and Jock Pederson, and Wyatt Langford added a stolen base, but the Rangers' pitching couldn't contain Chicago's offense once it got rolling. What started as a competitive game turned into a laugher, with the White Sox pulling away for a comfortable road win. The Houston Astros beat the Miami Marlins 8-5, powered by a 2-homer night from Yordan Alvarez, who went 3 for 4 with 2 RBI and has now hit safely in 7 straight games. Jeremy Pena also went deep for Houston, and Isaac Paredes kept his own 7-game hit streak alive with a base hit. Ronald Blanco was dominant on the mound, striking out 8 over 4.2 innings before the bullpen took over, with Aniel de Los Santos picking up the win. Cam Smith added a stolen base for the Astros. Miami got home runs from Liam Hicks and Joe Mack and Griffin Canine, Heriberto Hernandez, Javier Sanoja, Kyle Stowers, and Leo Jimenez all had hits, but the Marlins couldn't keep pace with Houston's power surge. With 2 players riding active hit streaks, the Astros lineup is clicking at just the right time. The Washington Nationals pulled away from the Colorado Rockies for a 7-3 road win, getting home runs from C.J. Abrams, Andres Chaparro, and Jacob Young. Young also drove in a run while going 3 for 4, and Curtis Mead added 3 hits of his own. Riley Cornelio worked 1.2 scoreless innings to pick up the win, and Tom Cosgrove closed things out with a 2-inning save. Colorado got hits from Jake McCarthy, Willie Castro, Cole Carrick, Tyler Freeman, and Kyle Carros, but couldn't match Washington's power at the plate. Luis Garcia Jr. and Nasim Nunes also reached base multiple times as Washington's lineup produced from top to bottom, and the Nationals' three-homer attack was more than enough to secure a comfortable win on the road. The Athletics topped the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-2, getting home runs from Joshua Kuroda and Jacob Wilson. Kuroda's hit extended his active streak to 12 straight games, one of the longer active hit streaks in the league right now. Tommy White had a strong night at the plate, going 4 for 5, and Luis Medina picked up the win after 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, with Hogan Harris closing it out for the save. Jeff McNeil added a stolen base for Oakland. Arizona's lone home run came from Ketel Marte, and Geraldo Perdomo swiped a bag, but the Diamondbacks couldn't generate enough offense to keep pace. Kuroda's ongoing streak was the headline of an Athletics win built on timely power. The Seattle Mariners blanked the Cincinnati Reds 8-0 behind a dominant start from George Kirby, who tossed 6 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. Victor Robles had a huge night, going 4 for 4 and adding a stolen base, and Cal Raleigh provided the power with a solo home run. Josh Naylor, Randy Arizona, Dominic Canzon, Julia Rodriguez, and Luke Riley all had hits as Seattle's offense stayed relentless throughout. Cincinnati managed only scattered hits from Dane Myers, Kedrian Hayes, and Edwin Arroyo, and J.J. Bleday was held without a hit, snapping his 7-game hit streak in a shutout loss. Ellie De La Cruz and Dane Myers each stole a base for the Reds, but it wasn't nearly enough to overcome Seattle's complete performance on both sides of the ball. The Los Angeles Angels edged the St. Louis Cardinals 3-2 in a tight, low-scoring game decided by a Joe Adell solo home run. Jose Furman picked up the win with a scoreless 2-strikeout inning out of the bullpen. Zach Neto, Vaughn Grissom, and Naan Shangle also had hits for the Angels as they scraped together just enough offense to hold on. Louis got a stolen base apiece from Jordan Walker and J.J. Weatherholt, and Walker, Nathan Church, and Lars Nootbaar all had hits, but the Cardinals came up just short in a game that came down to the final innings. It was a quiet, tightly contested affair that Los Angeles managed to close out at home. Boston's win streak has ballooned to 13 straight, the longest active run in baseball, while Joshua Kuroda keeps hitting, extending his streak to 12 straight games. Not every streak survived the day, though Jack Caglianone's 10-game hit streak came to an end in Kansas City, and J.J. Bleday's 7-game run was snapped in Seattle's shutout. Hot streaks and cold snaps both made headlines. Fantasy managers had plenty to work with Sunday. P.D. Halpin and Rhys Hoskins both went deep twice in Cleveland's blowout win, making them streaming-worthy ads off the wire. Jazz Kishom Jr. mashed 2 homers for the Yankees, while Trea Turner turned in a monster 2-homer, 5 RBI night for the Phillies. Dylan Dingler added his own 2-homer game for Detroit, going 4 for 5 with 3 RBI. With multiple multi-homer performances across the slate, Sunday was a great day to have any of these bats in your lineup. That's a wrap on today's action around the majors. Hit subscribe so you never miss a recap.